Good morning, everyone. It is September 1st. We're going into a long weekend. So we've got some news to catch up on. We've got some updates to talk about. Austin, what's happening with you? What's going on?
Doing really good. I like how we both went for a very beautiful powder blue look today. I think that's very classy. And I was wondering, do you want to jump
Yes.
right into the John Paulson Bitcoin conversation, or do you want to do some catch up first?
No, let's talk about that because that's interesting. And John Paulson's quite the character. And take us away. Tell us what's going on.
Sure. So for anyone who kind of doesn't know, John Paulson was involved in the housing market crash. He and his investors made out with about 20 billion at the end of that. So he was one of the big short guys, not necessarily to the extent that Michael Burry was, but still kind of saw what was happening very early on and went down that path, and it made them a lot of money. And so he's got a bit of a knack for seeing these bubbles when they're going to burst. And he's gone after Bitcoin and crypto and said that it's a worthless bubble, it's a meaningless bubble, and that he's doubling down on his belief in gold and thinks gold's time is right around the corner because that's the way of the future. And this whole Bitcoin fiasco is eventually going to come to an end, were his words.
Yes. So, yeah, you know what? And that's harsh. It's harsh words. But the one thing to keep in mind with John Paulson is that he's a right fighter. Which sounds weird when you're looking into the capital markets and finance markets, but he hates when companies take advantage of people. He hates when they rip people off. He hates when they mislead and they scam. So this is where he's very interesting. So he's a fundamentalist. He looks at the fundamental value. He looks at the economics. He looks at data of what's going on, and he says, out of this, then this will occur. And generally speaking, you're going to be right. It's just a matter of time frame. And he's not wrong. I mean, gold is going to bounce back, and I'm a big fan of gold. He's a huge fan of gold. He went and became a big fan of gold. Like, I think it was, I might get it wrong, but 2010, 2011, he started kind of edging into gold, seeing this massive stimulus of continuous, endless printing. That 10 years ago, that's still been going on. So he's a very interesting character. Now, and people. Contrarians to him would say, listen, he's a big fan of gold. He's involved, I think, with Detour Gold. He's got a big gold position. So, of course, he's going to be promoting his investment, his side, which is true. But that's because, he's firm on that conviction. There is, without a doubt, I mean, in the crypto space, it's a tulip. I mean, it really is. The thing that people are attracted to in it and that makes it interesting is the very thing that they're not going to allow happen. I mean, if you think they're going to allow you to have a decentralized account that can't be tracked, that they're not going to have every say over, you're in la la land. They're already forcing people to take vaccines in total disregard of science for a 99.9% survival rate. They've threatened that if you don't take that, the next step will be even harsher. So what makes you think they're going to allow you to remove your funds from a banking system where they have complete control, where they can't shut you down? I mean, I'm all for it. If this could actually happen, and I could say, sure. I mean, no one's going to tell me how to live my life or what to do, especially if you can't convince me otherwise and you can't provide me evidence to show the reason for doing something. I'll remove my money from your market. That'll never happen.
Yeah.
So in reality, if you're going to play the long game, commodities are where to look. I mean, that's where to look. I mean, and it's gold and silver to some extent on the fiat currency side of massive inflation and massive money printing, which we see happening. On the other side of that coin are all the battery energy metals you need for this electric future that they're going to push and put through. That's where, if you want to have any kind of risk management, but with a massive upside, this doesn't happen very often. And that's what, the market model mindset was about, that I've kind of been preaching. I'm a little preachy about this whole stuff for years. And we're seeing it. And there's these camps of people taking advantage of this momentum and market with, cryptos and all that. And you can make tons of money, and they're right, I guess, because they've made a lot of money. But what's the time frame? So that's let me know your thoughts.
No, I think it's kind of that exact take on it, that you need to be having a firm hard asset, and when weigh out the fact that eventually, federal governments are not going to allow this Bitcoin craze to carry on. They may do a cryptocurrency, but we've talked about this before. They're going to do their own. It's going to be controlled by the Federal Reserve in the U.S. or, by the central bank up here. That'll be the way that they do things. But, the interesting thing that I got out of Paulson's take was, I'll find a quote here because it was actually a really nice one. He said that, the rapidly expanding money supply could push inflation rates well above the current expectations, which we've talked about a lot. He said gold, which he's backed for years, is primed for its kind of moment in the sun, and that while the technology and the idea behind cryptocurrencies are interesting, they're eventually going to prove to be worthless. And I think that was kind of the biggest takeaway is it's kind of the way that you and I have both seen this eventually shaping up anyways. It's interesting then when you hear a guy who's, got, I think his fund's got about 40 billion behind them. That it's interesting when you hear a guy like that make note of that. And it's something that really shouldn't be ignored.
No, because if you look at it long enough, it's not an asset. There is no value there. I mean, there's a value in consideration of how much energy to take to create one. And the rest is just a mathematical formula. And so people say the same thing with fiat currency. I say, yeah, I mean, right now, fiat currency is a joke. Mm-hmm. But the alternative to that is you buy actual goods and services that create the things that you need. And, when you see like a Bitcoin or even Ethereum, the price is inflated massively in the last 5 years. It's absurd. So you've already seen the run up. And we can't value it because there's no historical data for it. And not only that, the technology, it's going to be used by other people. Like we've already hinted that, Italy said, hey, we'll do an Ethereum backed coin for our currency. Okay. It'll be Ethereum backed. Maybe they'll use a platform. Maybe they'll create their own. It won't have anything to do with, I mean, this is the thing. If that's the case, then your other cryptos are not going to be accepted. They're not going to be used. So I look at it from, a political point of view first, more than anything else, and historical, that if you think just because you've got some sort of technology and it's just utopian that you're going to change the world, you're not. It never has happened. Whether it's investment banks, whether it's the political establishment, if it's energy, you're not going to. You have to play ball with them, or else. That's it.
Yep.
So it is. He's not wrong. But at the same time, we desperately need innovation, and there's very cool ways to use blockchain, and we know this. And that's also coming along as well. But that is a different conversation, a nuanced conversation than what's the value of a Bitcoin or what's the value of this or that. But for all you gold bugs out there, people don't pay attention to commodities and real assets. It's, I can't stress it enough. This is where you need to be looking. And if you want that kind of that alpha, that really higher potential growth, then you look at the actual miners and the explorers that are going to find things, and you can get big pushes in these things. And this is what I like about what we do is that you don't have to have a ton of money. Like you don't have to put 100,000 into a stock. Like with a lot of these penny stocks, if you do some homework like we do, you can throw in small amounts of money and start off very slow. So you're not putting yourself in tough situations. So that's the good thing with these types of markets.
Well,
so
that's a great segue. That's a fantastic segue into we've got a couple mining companies that had some good news over the past 24 hours that we wanted to highlight. So do you want to take it away with Goliath and their update that they had yesterday?
Yeah, let's talk about Goliath because we're big fans of Goliath, and I think that they just announced that they're putting their third drill out for their big 2021 maiden drill campaign, which they've put 13 holes into the ground. 3 of them came back just the other day. On Monday morning, just yesterday morning, with strong results, and the stock has not gone the way I thought it would with those strong results. And I know some people would look and go, "Well, it could have been better." But that's the first of 3 drill holes that came out, and we're talking about at surface. Like this isn't. You're not having to go down a kilometer to get this out of the ground. This is very strong, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what more comes out. I think people are so used to just looking and saying, okay, where is it? What's the grade? And if it's not a certain number, they go, okay, I'm moving along. You have to look to see what's the depth, what's the metallurgy, what's the chance of this actually, coming of happening. And with their modeling, you look at that kind of the 3D model they have, this looks, it looks good. Now I'm going to have Roger on, I think, very soon, hopefully maybe today or tomorrow. We'll get to catch up with him. I'm not going to, my opinion on what the geology looks like is useless because that's not my strength. I can say the company's set up for success. The share structure, I can speak lightly to this. It looks good from my limited knowledge, but like Dr. Quinton Henning, I mean, he's thrilled with the results. So that's who I kind of lean on more. And I'm sure Roger will probably speak to that a bit more. And I'm sure Crescat Capital and Dr. Quinton Henning will have their update, I would say within a week, I would think. So we'll send that out to people too that have any interest. But, I try to be always careful, especially with mining, because you can hit a good hole, then you can hit a bad hole. Let's not get too carried away. But this is very, very encouraging.
Yeah, it is. And I just wanted to get your take on why exactly. Do you think it's something as simple as there's people looking through the news and it's not the exact number they wanted, so they kind of moved on? Is that why the stock hasn't responded in the way that you and I would have thought it would off the back of this news? Or what would your idea be there?
I mean, there's not a million things. There's a bunch of things that could be happening. Yeah. I just think that some people don't think that the results that the assays gave back were that great. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think they're very encouraging. So, you just have that, it's once again, and a lot of people will be comparing to another project. They go, well, hold on. Plus you're in Northern BC. Is that good? Is it bad? The drilling season is basically coming to an end pretty soon. Maybe I've made some money, take the money off the table. There's a lot of factors. And that's the thing. I had a great chat with Catalan, I'm going to say the last name incorrectly, but he was over at Tudor Gold, and he's got gold play right now. And we were speaking about this type of thing. And I just lost my train of thought here. Where was I going with that, Austin?
Yeah, so you were saying about that kind of thing and how the stock might necessarily respond in the way that we were kind of thinking, and people are looking at different assay results and different numbers.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, there's lots of factors right now, and I don't want to jump ahead of people, but a lot of people have made money on the stock, and they may just be wanting to pull it. There's a seasonality as well, so people will know in the next 6 weeks, or even depending on the weather up north, it could be in the next 3 weeks. They won't be doing any more work up there. So some people might be getting ahead of that curve and saying, listen, they won't be doing any more work up there. And yes, they'll have results, but maybe I've made some money. I'm going to take the money off the table and go somewhere else, because the biggest risk is waiting to actually get the results. And that's where your biggest pop will be. If you're a believer and you want to really take the risk, but you see in these curves, in anticipation of releases and more information data, stocks usually rise. And then once the actual news comes out, sometimes they actually fall. So it does happen. There's going to be a lot more releases coming out from Goliath. And if it keeps on getting encouraging, we'll see. We'll see, but I'm surprised that it isn't moving a bit faster and further. It is a long weekend though too.
That's true. Just
end
a
of
quieter
August.
Day. Yeah. Absolutely. We'll also jump into Lakewood Exploration, have some exciting news as well coming out that came out this morning. They're preparing for their phase 1 drill program with some underground rehabilitation. Now, what exactly is underground rehabilitation in this sense? Because I know it's a past producing mine in Idaho. They've got a team that's going in there based out of Coeur d'Alene that's going to rehab the mine. Is that get it ready for drilling? Yeah. What exactly is that?
Yeah, I kind of call them the renovation stories. So it's kind of like whenever you've got those fix your home type shows. Is you've got a house, they bought the house, now they're going in, they're renovating it. So they suspect that from all the data they've seen, they know what the past production is. Mm-hmm. That's easy to figure out. But they'll look at the old core, they'll look at it and go, you know what? At the prices that we're at today and the technology we have to further explore, we believe there's a lot left on the table here. There's a lot more we can get out of this mine. So they have to go in and literally clean it up, get it active again, which takes a lot of time and effort, and then start, with all the geophysics and data, is find out where are we going to chase this flow of minerals moving forward. Now they'll have done a lot of that work and they're still doing it, but you have to prep the mine to get ready to go back down into it. which they're doing, and get that drill program going. Because that's the good thing is if a mine's been left there for a long period of time and they've got some data and it looks encouraging, sometimes you have to stop mining, because of a recession or a depression, or a number of reasons. The commodity itself has just dropped significantly, while the costs go up. And we're going to see a lot of that moving forward here as inflation starts to really start pushing. And all those things are what make mining so fascinating and interesting, but also it makes people a bit wary because you need to know a lot. And it is literally the foundation of all technology. It comes from the resources from the earth. And it's so core in what we do, and we need to be, reminding people of how vital it is, and renovating some of these ones when there's enough information, enough data, it can be very lucrative. And that's kind of, what they're looking at. They think there's been a lot of minerals left there, but we're going to wait to see the data. I mean, that's what we're waiting for. Is you go in, you test the thesis, you look at it. They've got a great model. We've shown it before, and we've had Morgan Lekstrom on. So once again, it's a very compelling, not story, but compelling model. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens, but it looks good.
It does. It looks really encouraging. It's exciting news. It's nice that they're kind of getting ready to get in there and drill themselves. So hopefully more exciting news from them coming forward. And just a special shout out as well. I know we had it up on the screen a second ago. They got one of the coolest looking logos out there. Like they really credit to them. That is a really, really slick looking logo. I'm a fan of it.
I do love that silver hammer. It's pretty cool. It's definitely cool.
It absolutely is.
One of the other things I want to kind of touch on too is another one of these major themes. Thank you, from the World Economic Forum, of food supply shortages that they've been warning and threatening about for a long period of time. And that's something they've put out there. We see that there's a big push on fertilizer prices, and even the World Bank expects them to be very high over the course of 2021. So this is where, we've talked with Ariana Phosphate. It's a company, once again, we don't work with them. We don't have any, I might have a bias because I like it and I like the thesis, but I like this thesis of you're going to see a lot more news about these shortages and inflation. We've been talking about it for a while, and you're only starting to see some pushback to the mainstream narrative of that there isn't any inflation. And you even see sorry, who is it from which bank was it here? I'm sorry. There was someone, I didn't have Derek Holt. Yes. Sorry. So Scotiabank economist kind of rips into the agency for GDP bomb. So that was kind of talking about Scotiabank acknowledging inflation, acknowledging the decrease in GDP that we've had. Obviously we've shut down the country for an extended period of time, and also paid everyone not to work. And we've got a huge unemployment. And we know that, and I'm trying to make this less political than anything else, but when you have your leader say that he's not interested in monetary policy, I mean, it's
alarm bells.
If you're not worried, you should be very worried and scared, because there's so much happening in this world, and you've got someone who's more concerned about pronouns than he is about actually running and if you looked at it as a company, they're more interested in sounding good and doing TV spots than actually doing the work of running the company. And that's what we have here right now. And we're in a very precarious zone. Part of me, I mean, if I want to put my tinfoil hat on, is he's either he knows, or is expecting he's just going to get some money from China or the UN, and he'll step aside and he'll be fine. But he'll just say, he said it before, Canada's not a country. It's just a place. We've got no culture. We have nothing. We're just a place that people kind of live, which is the most absurd, delusional mindset that someone could have. And also, he has no interest in monetary policy. And it's like, well, why are you in this job? Why are you doing this role? So, and that's not to say that I rush out and vote for Aaron O'Toole. That's not even remotely what I'm saying. But and the fact that I have to point out that I'm not trying to be political here is also annoying. Is that you should be able to call out whoever's in charge and blame them for, listen, it's your job right now. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't want to do the job, then let someone else do it. So we're in a very tight spot, and people are. Let me put it this way: you're being focused by mainstream news to put your fear where it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Once again, if your fear is on the 0.0007% chance of something happening, you've misallocated your risk management. You're not looking, you've stopped looking at the reality, and you've bought into a story. And it's easy to do. I mean, I'm not pointing fingers. It's not because people are stupid. It's not because anything. People only have enough points of time in the day, and a lot of people, they think that if they just go to their news, why would they lie to me? It's that kind of idea. And I just remind people in the 80s, when I grew up, they used to talk about how terrible the Soviet Union was because all of the media was state owned. That's Canada. and the US is no different, because it's not state owned, it's state encouraged, but also it's a business kind of owned. And and you can see even Biden says, oh, we won't legislate enforcing authoritarian rule, we'll just get companies to do it. So you go, well, that's no different. I mean, that's this is the thing. So if you think that's not going to affect a free and open market when you can't have free and open societies, once again, that's very delusional thinking. So we're in a very, very strange crux. Lots of things to be concerned about, but at the same time, truth wins out, data wins out, reality wins out, and it's going to be uncomfortable until we get there. But it's not going to get any easier anytime soon, but there's always money to be made. And I feel confident that even if we lose all sorts of freedoms and rights, we'll have made enough of a nest egg to be able to create our own solution and leave or whatnot, and go somewhere where they respect freedom and they respect reason and truth and reality. But that's part of why I like doing what I'm doing, because there is a huge opportunity to make some money here, and everyone can. So if you're paying attention and you like, critical thought, critical reasoning, looking at actual data, looking at history, then you're probably interested enough to listen to us. And we've got the success rate on the company side. So maybe we're right. Maybe we're onto something.
We might be. And to kind of wrap up the initial kind of thought there on food shortages is to note, if there's an opportunity to make money, fertilizer prices are expected to stay through the roof all the way through the rest of this year, all the way into next year. You tie that in. I recommend anyone go do a quick Google search, type in food supply shortage into Google, and go browse through the news article. I pulled it up here. I got one from 5 days ago, ABC News.
There's
one
Bloomberg,
from a week ago, Oklahoma State University. Another one, Bloomberg, UK trucker shortage. That's from 4 days ago. Transport Topics 2 days ago, talking about path for food chaos. So it's certainly something that's going to be looked at. Yeah, there's another great one there. Fertilizer prices expected to stay high over the remainder of 2021. There's a real opportunity there to look at potential growth and owning the stuff that makes stuff. That's fertilizer is going to be so key into trying to deal with these massive food shortages that we are going to feel a squeeze from over the next 12 to 18 months.
And it's this sleuthing that's fun. I mean, it's finding these stories, connecting the dots, wondering why Bill Gates is buying up all the farmland in the U.S. And his connection with the World Economic Forum and the rest of these players. And it's not hard to see where this is going. So that makes it makes it like it's literally like watching some sort of movie, except it's happening in real life, watching them play this out. But they've hinted and told you ahead of time, and yet you still have 80% of people disbelieving that it's happening or going to happen. So it's fascinating. It's as stressful as it can be sometimes for myself and for a lot of people. It is one of the most interesting times in history to be alive. It is truly, truly bizarre point in time. And we're cradled over here in Vancouver because it's beautiful and people are living a bubble out here. And they don't realize what's happening in the rest of the world. But here, it's amazing whenever you do and you see that of what's playing out right now. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is for sure. But better times ahead. We can hope for that and stick to the philosophy, stick to the plan. And hey, make sure you guys are liked and subscribed, sign up here. This was a busy Wednesday morning show. It's the 1st of September. it's going to keep getting busier. It's going to get hectic over here for a little bit, Andrew. But we're excited and we're looking forward to it.
And and like I said, I mean, there's so much going to happen in the fall. It's lots of bad, and there's going to be lots of good. And the key is to make sure that you're focused your attention on what one can do today. What are the actions that I do today that make my life better for myself, for my family, for my friends, for my community? How can I help them? How can I give back? And then identifying where should you put that energy, and try not to waste it on social media, getting in an argument with someone who you're never going to change their mind. And just take that energy, make something positive out of it, create your own future. This is it. There's a big chance for a lot of people, and lots going to be happening. We're excited. Let's get at it.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, and we'll chat to you on Friday.
Take care.
All right. Have a good one, guys.